Hi, hello my beautiful friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Letara White, in case you don't know me. This is my channel where I just speak and bring through my voice into the physical reality, energies, downloads, insights, and whatever wants to come through me from the divine, from the source, and from my higher self. And I haven't been here for a while. I know, in case you've been following me, it's been a lot of transformation happening with me lately. So I took the time to focus on myself and live this whole crazy thing that has been going on within me. And I guess if you resonate with my messages, you might have been feeling powerful energies shifting and transforming and alchemizing within you guys lately, within the past few months. And today I really felt called to hop on here and express what wants to come through. I have been feeling this powerful energy since last night or maybe 2 days ago, and I'm recording this in beginning of February 2026, but I just want you guys to know, whenever you watch this video, you are meant to receive it then. All my videos are timeless, and as you know, in quantum field in the universe where we all live in, time is non-linear, time is quantum, time is energy, and every human being lives their own reality according to their own inner energetic time. I would say it's really hard to express for me, when it comes to time and space, but I guess you know what I mean. And I wanted to talk about manifestation today a little bit, because I felt this energy moving through me from last night. It's very powerful energy, and the way I felt it in my body, it's almost like my body's shaking. It makes me restless and a little bit unsettled. But I also realized, guys, that this restlessness in unsettledness that I felt, and anxiousness almost, to feel this energy, to sit with it, comes from my own resistance, right? So our mind, in our subconscious, we have been carrying a lot of beliefs, conditioning, programming that we have passed on, we received from our ancestors, from society since the day one when we were born, from the system or the matrix, whatever we want to call it, from our environment, our culture, and so on. So the way I see the process right now on Earth is that collectively we are all going through a purge. I'm really hearing this energy and the word purge. We are all purging individually and collectively as a result from a lot of this old, dense, toxic, distorted, I call them distorted energies in our body, in our subconscious, because we are all one. Our mind, body, spirit, everything is one, everything is connected, and our subconscious mind is directly expressed through our body. So whatever we have, stuck emotions, unexpressed feelings, desires, whatever limiting beliefs or fear patterns that we had in our system, our trauma, self-abandonment, self-sabotage, right? Unacceptance towards ourselves, lack of self-love, lack of unconditional self-love, the division, the separation the separation pattern, the programming of separation, I would call this as a programming. The programming to separate ourselves into different pieces and different aspects that we have inherited from our ancestors, and that has been in our human collective consciousness for centuries before. All of this stuff, a lot of it is very restrictive. The way I see it, it was very toxic and limiting us, limiting our own ability to truly see and perceive ourselves for who we are, authentically, to express ourselves authentically, and to just be, to just be fully present and grounded in our human self, in oneness with our divine spiritual essence that we are. And the way I feel that we have been going for the past, I don't know how many years, through this purging, this so-called Kundalini energy, the life force energy that has been activated on individual and collective level in the past decade. I see this, that every human being had this life force activation, this purge activation, on their own time, right? Somebody did it in, whatever year, somebody still has it coming to them, right? But more or less, I would say that the majority of the collective that has awakened and has been awakening, that is conscious, right? We have been going through this purge thanks to our Kundalini energy, life force energy rising from the bottom, from the ground, from our lower chakras, from our root energy center. And this energy has been moving throughout the years, individually and collectively, through our bodies, through our systems. And the way I see it, at least for me and for those who will resonate with this message, I felt it coming up really high, right? It's already now in our head. I'm seeing everything from the solar plexus up, right? Solar plexus, throat center, the third eye, right? The center of our perception, and the crown chakra, the connection to the divine. But I've also been feeling that this energy that has been moving through me and through other people, and as I speak, I activate you guys too, if you haven't been feeling this yet. If you're ready and willing and open to receive this activation, all my videos, just FYI, are activations. So if you need this, you will feel this energy. It's really been present in higher centers, and I saw it moving through our eye, third eye center, this is the center of our perception, guys. So the way I see it, all our beliefs, right, in the subconscious mind and whatever we had stored in our body, right, the traumas, the beliefs, the programming, the emotions, the more we release it, the more it clears the filters, the distortions that we had because of this limiting beliefs and conditioning stored in our perception center, like in our inner true spiritual so-called vision, right? So in our brain, this is how I literally see this energy, guys. They're showing me that this energy is clearing now in our brain, like physically the cells, the physical cells and molecules of our brain in our heads. And while it's purging our physical brain, we release all of this old, limiting, toxic, I would almost say narcissistic, abusive energies and conditioning, programs that used to sit right in our brain, and they would distort our perception of the world and especially of ourselves, the way we saw ourselves, the victim programming, right? The belief that there is, someone else's authority is higher than mine, right? Like someone else's opinion is, better or more true than my own, right? So this is kind of like the rebalancing that we're going through right now. And especially I see this has gone to the next level with our full moon in Leo that we just had past week on February 1st, 2026. And at least I felt that too that day, but I know that a lot of people have been going through feeling anxiety, restlessness, fear of survival. Ancestors have come up for me. They might have come up for you too. See, guys, as soon as I said ancestors have come up, ancestor energy, my lamp, the light that I used to record the videos, out just well, for no reason, it just turned off. Did you see that? And then I just turned it on again. So this makes me aware that our ancestors are here and now with us. You know, their energy has been really awakening, you know, their power, their true power, their true essence, you know, all our ancestral gifts, you know, the talents, the unique energies that we have inherited also along with the trauma, right, and conditioning that was not helpful from our previous generations, right? We have in our DNA, guys, like we literally have in our blood, right, these energetic codes coming from the ancestors, you know, and whatever they experienced, right, we are clearing the toxicity, we are clearing the filters, the beliefs that made our ancestors and us believe and see the world, right, through the lens, through this screen, right, through the screen of lack, of scarcity, of division, separation, inner conflict, you know, lack of self-love, lack of self-worth, you know. Look at that, guys, seriously, look, this energy is so powerful. As I speak, my lamp is just going crazy. Sorry about that, but and it's funny because like I connected it to a new outlet. I mean, it's the same outlet, but it's always been working, and it's plugged on and it's all connected and it works, right? So I know that, you know, our energy affects our physical reality, right? So I feel like, see, it's going crazy. I don't know what's happening. Well, we're gonna have to play it, guys, because you know, when I channel, I cannot go back and repeat it twice. So whatever comes through and the way it comes through, it has to come through, right? This is me, this is my authentic self, this is how I express myself, and I encourage you strongly, right, to not limit yourself and your expressions. You know, you don't have to be perfect, you just gotta be you, right? So what I feel like, yeah, with this clearing, right, of this ancestral distortions and conditioning, right? See, I say ancestors and it shuts off. Okay, I'm just gonna go on, you know, and then I'll fix the lighting later. Hopefully you guys get a good vision, good image. Okay, sorry, as I was saying, right? When we inherit, right, we inherit DNA, literal, right, conditioning, physical energy from our ancestors. We don't only inherit, you know, the trauma, the pain, the fears, the suffering, the toxic patterns, limiting beliefs, and so on, right? We also have those codes sitting there, right, in our DNA, codes of abundance, right? Talents, unique abilities, right? Our physical appearance, the beauty, our intellectual abilities, right? Like all that previous experience that our ancestors have had, right? We don't inherit just the bad stuff, you know, quote unquote. We don't inherit just the distortion. We inherited also a lot of power, a lot of inner strength, right? Physical vitality, joy, right? The knowledge, the deeper wisdom, right, of how to be connected with nature, how to manifest our reality by working and being one with the elements, right? Water, fire, earth, water, fire, earth, air, right? And the fifth element, the ether, right? Our ancestors have had a lot of knowledge, wisdom, right? Talents, right? Something that makes you and your bloodline, right, and your family different from other people, right? And it plays out, it adds to your authentic spiritual self, right? So like this physical energy that we have been carrying in our DNA. And what I hear is that they're telling me that in a lot of people, right, these DNA codes, they were kind of on sleep mode, you know, they were kind of like asleep, they were not fully activated in our DNA and literally in our body and subconscious mind. But because I'm hearing that there was no room, right, there was not enough room for all those energies to activate and unlock, right, and unpack and start working within us so that we can embody them before, right? Because we had a lot of this other shit, we had a lot of this lack illusion and lack mindset and fears and anxiety and like separation, a lot of trauma, like a lot of stuck emotions. I don't know about you guys, but I know in my family, I'm coming from Eastern Europe, former Soviet Union country, and my ancestors and my family, generations after generations, especially men on my dad's side, everybody was taught to shove their emotions down their throat and not speak about them, not accept anger. It was a lot of suppression of emotions, which causes a lot of suffering inside, right? All that baggage used to sit in our bodies, right? So as the life force energy clears out, right, our beliefs, limitations, illusions and distortions in our perception of how we see ourselves, how we perceive the world, how we perceive a relationship, like me and the world, right? Before, there used to be a lot of separation programming in our system. Like, our ancestors, right, for generations, like they used to believe, right, that like me, this ego person, right, I am separate and the world is separate, and that other person is separate, and they're my enemy, right? We used to have this concept like, this is me, and our ego used to be in survival and fear, and you used to be conditioned to believe that, the rest of the world is my enemy, right? I gotta stay in fear, I gotta protect, right? Like I have to save, right? Like my resources, I gotta fight for resources, like there is not enough money, we gotta go to war. Like, see, like all this war dynamic that I'm hearing, that's what they're telling me. The whole war concept has resulted, has become manifested in our reality as a result of the conditioning, of the belief that was instilled in our subconscious mind by the system, right, and our ancestors' DNA, and we received it passed on, right? But that conditioning used to say, right, like our ancestors at some point, they were made to believe that, okay, I am not safe, there is an enemy right there, right? And I am separate from these people, and there is not enough resources, there is a lack of money, there is a lack of water, there is a lack of light, right, whatever. So I need to protect and I need to fight, so I need to go to war with those people, right? To like take their territory, because I need more, right? Like this distorted ego concept, right? The greed, the fear of not having enough, of not being enough, right? All of that stuff roots in that distorted belief that we are separate from someone else, right? That me as a human being, I am separate from the world. Like this, right? Like if I am this physical body, right? People used to see themselves as just like, I am this human being, my name is this, right? And I have this body, and right, I go to sleep, I get up, I go do my job, right? I make money, I survive, I go back to sleep, right? There was no awareness of other dimensions of ourselves, right? There was no awareness of who we truly are, what our authentic self is, what our true essence is. And that belief of separation, right? It's like, human consciousness was programmed to believe that I am separate from the rest of the world, right? And this is how the construct of ego was created, right? And for centuries, we used to live like that, right? We used to believe like, I gotta do it all alone. I'm alone, and, have to protect myself, and I gotta fight that guy and this guy, and that country is my enemy. Like, they have different race, and if they're, if they have a different skin color, or, they speak a different language, then they're different than me. They're my enemy, right? Like they're separate and I'm separate, and like this whole concept of like the little self, like the little me. The ego, me, was based on the belief of separation, right? That I am separate from the universe. I am separate from other people, right? So all of that fear and all of that, distorted beliefs and views of the world were I'm seeing this as like, they were injected energetically, right, into our perception, into our subconscious mind. Well, they were injected into our ancestors' system, right? And then we just kind of like, it went on, right? It was passed on, right? From the ancestors, right? From parents to their children and so on, right? Generation after generation. Until today, right? So what was happening today, guys, right? Like, because we are awakening, we have awakened, we are conscious, we realize that we are much more like each individual human being, right? That I am a multidimensional being. I'm a spiritual self. I have energy, and energetically and physically, we are all connected, and we are coming back through this purge of this distorted beliefs and conditioning that we are separate. This whole concept of separation is being purged away within each individual person. You know what I'm saying, guys? So like when we go through this clearing, like within ourselves, right? When we heal our trauma, right? Like we reconnect with our inner child, we accept our darkness, our shadow, all these parts, like, right? All these other parts and aspects of ourselves, or who we are as a multidimensional, authentic self, divine being, right? Embodied on earth through this vessel of our beautiful, gorgeous, sexy body, right? Guys, if you don't think, by the way, if you don't think you're gorgeous and you're beautiful and you're sexy, start believing it again. I'm telling you. I know you guys are super cute, and whatever way you look is just perfect, right? Love yourself, love your body, and you're gorgeous, and you're stunning, and fuck everyone who says otherwise. Okay. Closing that little parenthesis, going back, right? So as we awaken and we clear, right, these distorted beliefs and perceptions of who we are, we clear the separation within ourselves, in our body, in our mind, in our spirit, right? We are healing, right? And we're retrieving all aspects, right? And accepting all parts of ourselves, right, within our system. We start loving ourselves more unconditionally, right? We focus on ourselves more, on our heart. We love our body. We start, taking care of it and so on. We are clearing, we are purging physically, on a physical level, guys. I'm telling you, this is not just an energetic spiritual process, because spirit and body has always been one. See, like also this concept of like, people are saying, oh, I'm not my body, I'm spirit living through the body. Yes, that is true, but it's also sometimes when you say I am not my body, you're kind of like denying, you're not accepting the fact that you are a body too. I would say that yes, I am a spirit, and my spirit is one. My spirit reflects through my body, guys, because at the essence is what I saw, the physical body, right? It's also a manifestation of a specific, frequency, right? We are all a vibration. Technically, right, we are all just electromagnetic waves, right? Like I'm a wave and I'm an electromagnetic field. I'm a vibration right now, and you're a vibration. And other people, like we are just all waves, right? And we vibrate on a specific frequency, right? Frequency of love, of joy, or like, other lower frequencies, higher frequencies, right? All of that is who we are, right? So that's what I saw also recently. I wanted to share with you guys. I just literally like a week ago, I was sitting and I just felt it. I have become aware that I am a frequency. I was like, I could feel all this vibration, right, through my body. So I realized that my body, right, is just a manifestation, right? It's like what I see, what I perceive with the eye, like in this 3D physical reality, right? It's like an optical image, like an optical illusion, right? It's like I am a frequency of divine, creative, unconditional love energy. And this is all what we are, guys. Literally every human being and every life creature is a physical manifestation of this vibration, of this electromagnetic wave vibrating on the frequency of unconditional love, which divine is. We are all walking, vibrations. We are all walking electromagnetic fields, waves. We are waves, And like whatever we want to express, right? Like our physical body, right? It's just how we, like when we touch, right? We feel this energy as thick, right? As something solid, as physical, right? But this is just how we perceive ourselves, right? And the more we accept and love our body, right? The more we can ground here on the physical plane all of our spiritual, multidimensional, energetical frequency self. You know what I mean? So I truly encourage you to not deny your body, right? Your physical body is a part of you. Your soul is part of you. Your emotion, whatever that emotion is part of you. So the more we retrieve our aspects and we receive them, we accept them unconditionally within ourselves. By doing this, guys, like we are letting go of all these distortions in our spiritual vision, in our perception of who we are and what the world is and the way we see the world. And the more we go through this process, this is what I'm hearing our ancestors want to say, and the divine. The more we go through this self-acceptance and unconditional love embodiment within ourselves individually, the more we can embody our full, unconditional, multidimensional, unconditional love, energetic self. You know what I mean? Like the more we clear the illusions, of what they told us about who we are, who we were and are, the more we become aware, we're getting clarity in our third eye. We're starting to see more and more clearly and purely the truth about who we are, right? And I'm seeing this process is going to be intensified and will continue for many of us in the next, few months and even this whole year, right, 2026, because like I said before, everybody has their own individual, like personal timeline, but as there's as much as you can purge, at any given day, guys. It's not easy. I know for myself too. But what I'm seeing is we are coming back to our wholeness within. On individual level, right? We start loving and accepting ourselves unconditionally. And the more we let go of all these distorted beliefs and illusions that the Matrix told us about us, right? They told us that we are victims, that we are powerless, that we are nobody, that, the government is more powerful than us and you have to listen to this president because he has power, he has authority, but you have no authority, you are nothing, What I saw is that at some point our ancestors, they were taken away their pride and their dignity, their just human dignity, and their self-worth was torn to pieces, was trashed out, for generations by the system, by the powers, the political regimes, that came before, all the wars and stuff, right? So there was a lot of suppressing our human, basic human dignity. They were deprived of their true value. They were devalued. They were conditioned to believe that they are powerless and they need to listen to this guy, because he knows better, and they were, it was a lot of stuff happening, like what they're telling me. And what I feel, our ancestors have suffered a lot, guys, and I believe that it would be really good if you feel called to just honor them. I really felt called this week, right, to honor all the men in my bloodline who have come before me, because I've seen how many of them, they died. They never had the chance, right, to like a proper, happy, harmonious life, right? Because they had to go to war and maybe they were killed at a very young age, right? Or even if they survived, they came back wounded, they came back traumatized, and they never had the chance to live their dreams, right? They never had the chance to fully express their magnificence, live a happy, joyful, wealthy, harmonious, abundant life, right? Many of them had a lot of dreams and desires, and they wanted to create a legacy, to do something beautiful with their lives, right? Because our life is so precious, guys. That's what my ancestors told me this week when they were coming through. I really felt their pain, and they told me that I should appreciate, every, like, my physical life, right? Every second of our life, guys, it's precious, it's really priceless. And I saw how many of men, women too, of course, of my ancestry, but I really feel that this is, I've been feeling a lot of purging, specifically of my inner masculine energy, right? So my inner divine masculine, it's me as a woman is like what we inherit from our fathers, right? Our fathers, grandfathers, and so on, like from the men in our bloodline, right? So we all have the inner masculine energy and inner feminine energy, regardless of the gender, right? But I really felt strongly that this purging and this energy that I saw moving through me is coming from our ancestors. In my case, it's from the masculine bloodline. But I feel like you might feel it too, because I feel that this is a collective process. And it's of course connected to the fact that we have a year of the fire horse. Fire is a very quote unquote masculine energy, right? Is a yang energy, is power, is the sun, is moving forward, is the creative. Fire is the passion, is the strength, is the expressing our boundaries, moving forward, being decisive, not tolerating any bullshit from anyone, defending ourselves whenever we need to, right? Saying no to the oppressor, saying no, right? And pushing back, when the dictators come and try to violate our boundaries, right? Speaking up for ourselves, right? I'm really feeling this energy, guys, like, and throughout the whole 2026, we are gonna have more and more individually and collectively opening up and clearing of our throat centers. I'm really seeing that, for myself, and other people, we will be speaking up more and more our truth, we will be standing, we will be grounding our truth. We will not be tolerating any more bullshit from anybody. When I'm saying this, it's not only on individual level, but what it will, transfer into a collective, right? Energy that will not, as a collective, we will not be tolerating any more bullshit from any president, government, institution, corporation, any individual or entity that is still trying, right, to impose their will in a dictatorship kind of way onto us, whether it's when you're individual, in your personal life or your work life or your relationship, or in our collective, right, as a country, as a civilization, as a mankind, our throat center is going to be opening up more and more. And I'm seeing this energy is helping us to clear, the blockages, the fears, the distorted beliefs, right? That the belief that it's not safe to speak my truth, right, is going to be cleared, and then the more it's cleared and being released from our system, we are going to be seeing more and more people, right, and organizations. We're going to be speaking up and expressing our inner authentic truth, right, from our hearts, from our innermost being, right? And I would also say that this energy is going to be clearing the distortions in our ego and the perception of many people's perception about ego. And this was the message that I really wanted to mention today, guys. I have a video about this. I did it before last year, but it's been coming up again. I want to invite you today, if you are that spiritual or conscious person that still believes, or you were told to believe, that ego is something bad, or like we need to let go of our ego, we need to, ego needs to die, we need to transcend, and it's not good, and this ego is the bad guy, and ego is made out of fear, and you gotta watch out your ego, like all this, like ego is the bad guy dynamic. I am telling you to open your eyes and to receive this activation from me. I have come to realize on my personal journey and many other people's journeys that I observe and I've spoken to, that our ego is neither good nor bad, it just is. Our ego means I, right? Ego comes from the Latin word ego, which literally translates me, like I. It's basically just, right? It's a part of ourselves. It's another aspect of us, the ego, right? That makes it possible for our essence energetically, for our spiritual self to incarnate in this body and be present in this physical, right, world, the world that we live in, right? We are the ones on a soul level who created the ego, right? The ego, initially, the way I'm seeing this, it's just it's a representation, right? It's a construct that keeps, score. Ego is a combination, right? It's the total amount of our characteristics, beliefs, emotions, and everything that makes our human self, right? It's basically our human identity. It's just our identity. It's our personality. That's all. And, just because we have had a lot of, fear patterns, right? And toxic patterns and, present in our ego, it doesn't make it, inherently bad. You know what I mean? Because what I was shown by my ancestors, is that, there was a time, right, before the distortion happened, right, before the distorted matrix that we lived in for many years, that whatever we call the matrix, or the oppressive, right, toxic system that we have lived on until now, right? Before the matrix was manifested through the distortions in people's creative minds, right? Before that, there was another time, very long time ago, when people, humankind, right, our ancestors, very, 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 very far away, far long ago, they used to be living in harmony and balance with themselves, right? They used to live consciously. They knew, they were aware of the fact that they're all one. They used to live in connection to themselves. They used to live in oneness and unity with other people and with all life force around them, right? Remember, they used to live in harmony and honoring the planet Earth. They knew, right? Just remember those examples. Like we have still a lot of information left, right? From the Maya civilization, right? The ancient Egyptians and other civilizations, right? I know I have Slavic background, right? Like my ancestors were Slavic, and on my dad's side I have, Iranian, I think I have Persian and Balkanic ancestors, like Middle Eastern ancestors too, right? All those ancient civilizations, like we know a lot about them, that, even if you think about it, the Native American tribes, right? Like the Native American civilizations, right? That, lived here on the American continent, right? Like wherever I live right now, right? You go to any Native American, right? Dwelling, right? A city or in their reservations, or if you talk to someone, there are still, like those people, they will tell you they still live with those beliefs, right? The tradition is they are connected to animals, right? The way they treat animals is different. The way they treat life force is different, right? The way they treat forests and trees and land, they worship the land, right? They have a different relationship, right? So all of these are examples of how, in my vision, a long time ago, our ancestors all used to live, right? So at the time, just think about it, before we had all this distorted belief instilled in our subconscious mind, right? That there is a separation, that we are separate from other people. Like before separation and distortion first appeared, our ancestors, right? They were also human beings, right? They were also souls incarnated, in this physical body, right? But they had awareness of their multidimensionality, right? Like to a different degree. And their ego, right? Like their physical human self did not have those beliefs. It didn't have the toxicity. It didn't have the fear patterns and anxiety and the war memory. All of that was not present yet, right? So they were a pure, like their personality, right? Their human expression, their physical body, right? Their human identity, their ego was a direct and pure expression and embodiment of their inner authentic spiritual self, which is unconditional love, harmony, balance, unity, right? They were oneness, they were whole, right? So their ego was a reflection of their inner feeling of who they were, right? So what I feel is that the more we clear now these toxic and patterns and beliefs, and the more we accept and realize that our ego is not going to go anywhere, guys. Our ego is not a bad guy. Stop, please, I'm telling you, because I am sick and fucking tired of all this. A lot, not all of them, right? But a lot of these spiritual teachers and religions and gurus and masters and blah blah blah, and everybody talking like, oh, you gotta get out of your ego, you gotta drop into the heart and leave it behind, and ego needs to die. Guys, ego death is a metaphor, right? Is a metaphor for transformation. We never die, right? Like we are the immortal energy of unconditional love of the divine, right? And we are here embodied in this character. No, this is our avatar. This is our physical character that we have come to, right? We are using this body, this identity to play the game of life, to be able to play the game of creation. It was given. It wasn't given to us, guys, because we are one with the divine. We are the architects and the manifestors and the creators of our reality as a whole and individually too, right? So before we incarnated here, our souls, our authentic selves, our divine consciousness, we chose, right? We chose this body. We knew what we were getting into. Right? So when people talk about, leave the ego behind and you're not your ego, you gotta go into the heart and ego is blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, this is another distortion from my experience. And I'm honestly, guys, I started really transforming and healing and stepping into my authentic self and my power only when I started realizing that ego is not a bad guy. Ego is just me. It's this little me, the physical self, but we need this little me. Otherwise, that big me, that bigger multidimensional self, the great I am, right? It cannot play this game. Without our ego, we don't exist as human beings. Do you understand me? So I am please asking you once and for all, especially you're a man, and I'm going to tell you why, especially if you're a man. If you're a male person, if you have a penis and you consider yourself to be a man, this is very important, especially for you. It's important for everybody. But why I'm speaking about men, because in my experience, right, if we look about it, like the yin and the yang energy, the so-called divine masculine and divine feminine, right? The divine masculine energy, the yang energy, for me, right, the way I see it is that everything that's visible, right? Like it's everything, it manifests whatever is visible, right? The inner feminine, she's like, she's like the darkness of the night, the inner feminine, she's going within, but like she's about being, but like it's calm, it's soft, it's nurturing, right? Like the divine feminine, the yin energy, right? She is the darkness, the void of the cosmic womb, right? Well, there is nothing yet is manifested, but she just is, she just is. And all the potentials of all the seeds of what could be manifested, right? Could be expressed in the physical shape lie within her, right? So the feminine, it's all about being, right? Going within, receiving, like the inner feeling, the emotion, right? Like, and so on, right? And for me, the inner masculine, the divine masculine energy, the yin principle, right? Like he is the sun, right? He's like, ta-da, here I am, right? He creates, he's responsible for manifesting everything that is visible, right? Like, so if you see me, right, you cannot see me, right? You can't see my soul, right, with your physical eye. Like you can't see, right? Like you cannot see my womb, right? My feminine essence, she is within me, she is inside, right? So but you can see my body, like whatever is visible, whatever is conscious, whatever is bright, like you can see it in the light of the sun, right? My body, like you can see my hands, we can see our nose, the color of my eye, like everything that is physical, right? Like that we can see, we can touch, like the physical human self, right? This vessel, the body is a manifestation of the ego, right? The ego is the humanity of us, right? It's our emotions too, right? Because emotions, we can feel them in our body. Like, like you guys are, oh my God, I feel anger, You can feel it physically in your body, that anger or the sadness or the joy, So for me, I always see the connection between the ego and my physical body and my inner masculine and my inner child too, right? Whenever I work, whenever I feel this energy come up, it always comes down to the lower center, like everything, like the lower center, like the lower chakras, the physical body, right? Like my body, my health, right? The physical health, the vitality, right? Everything material, right? Like the money, the structure, the boundaries, the home, like this is the physical, foundation, right? Of who we are, right? We need like the roots, right? All of that, the physicality, everything that we can touch, right? The sexual energy, the fire, that's the masculine, right? And this is also part of the ego, right? The physical right? Whatever, everything that is physical that we can experience here, the aromas, the touch, the smell, the taste, that also connects for me to our inner to the masculine energy, to the yang energy, to the wild, physical, masculine part of us, right? Because we also have like the spiritual, like the higher, right? The higher expressions of the of the masculine, which is like the consciousness, like the thought, the idea, right? The word. So it has different expressions, but I feel like that's what it is. Like ego for me is what makes it possible for me to physically live as a human being. My ego, our ego, is what makes us actually human, right? And it's connected to our soul, like let's say like the physical, like the lower quote unquote masculine, because guys, like lower and higher energies doesn't mean that lower is worse than the higher. It's just different frequency, just different expressions of who we are. Higher is just more subtle, more invisible, and like the lower you go, like the lower frequency we go to, right? It's more dense, it's more slow, and like our body vibrates at a much lower frequency, right? Than let's say our spiritual self, right? Our soul, right? Because it needs to be, this is how physicality works, right? Without the physicality, without the lower vibrations, we cannot exist as humans, right? And this quote unquote lower, quote unquote, guys, again, this is just very, right, like symbolically, right? For me, the ego is connected to that physical, raw, powerful, right? Present, dense, masculine energy that makes me feel alive, guys. We would not be physically alive on this planet had we have not the ego and the physical, masculine energy that it manifests. You know what I mean? So in my heart, I'm wishing you to drop this idea once and for all that your ego is something that you need to let go of. The ego death that we go through is just a transformation, right? The more we purge ourselves from these distorted beliefs, right? our ego transforms, right? Because now we don't have the the separation, and other toxic beliefs, right, and patterns within ourselves. And so our ego transforms with us as we transform as human beings, as our body and soul changes, right? So the more authentic and pure we become in our multidimensionality, right, in our consciousness and our awareness of who we truly are, like how we actually look, our ego gets purified, and it restores, like it kind of like restores back to those original DNA codes that our ancestors used to embody, before, when they were all one. They knew that they were one with God, they were one with the world, there were no wars. Like this is pre-war history, guys, It was all possible because, they were, their physical body, right, their ego is just a direct, instant manifestation of their inner authentic self, right? And what's our authentic self, guys? Again, it's our nature, it's our soul, and our soul is the creative love of God. That's all. Like we are all at essence, and we have always been pure energy and frequency of unconditional love. Everything is love, guys. That's what I saw. Everything is unconditional love, and everything else is just a distortion. It's an illusion created by our distorted vision of the world. It's our perception that was filtered. It's like we have filters. Like when you look through some glasses, guys, and when your glasses, you have some dirt or like some dust, so like you look right at the object of those glasses, but you don't see it clearly because there is some, filters or whatever, like dust, right? Or like some fog, like foggy glasses. So what I believe, and I see that it's happening right now, and in the year 2026 is really helping us with that, and is really accelerating this purge, this individual and collective purging. Some of us are going to finalize this purge, right, this year. I'm seeing myself, like a lot of you guys, like within the next few months, like up to the next, like let's say 6 months, the process will be completely done in your body, right, in your center, in your system, right? And what happens at the end of this purge, guys, like where are we all heading towards, right? Like what is the end, like destination, right? What will happen is, the way I see, when the purge is done, there will be no more distortions, fears, anxieties, toxicity within ourselves. And when all of that is gone, right, what remains is just our pure self, our authentic self, our nature, our divine essence, here and now, always fully present and being manifested and expressing itself through our human physical self. And at that point, our human self, aka ego, our ego, you will see that is one with your soul. So our physical self, like we as human beings, like we will be fully living every moment of our life, fully just expressing ourselves, our authentic self, without the separation between, me and the world, my soul and the ego. We are going to be walking, bodies vibrating on the frequency of our authentic self, which is unconditional love, right, guys? Like, am I expressing myself well? I hope you understand. See, because the energy is so powerful. So this is what's happening, guys. In a way, I would say, like our authentic self, our soul, our consciousness of love, unconditional love, right? The more it comes through, right, it's being grounded, right, from the higher centers down. It's being more and more embodied by us into our bodies by clearing those distorted beliefs and illusions in our perception, in our view of who we are, right? So in a way, I would say that when the purge is done, our soul, the heart, the love that we are, is going to be one, fully blended, fully integrated as a whole one being, with our ego, aka physical body, right? Aka human identity. We're not gonna go anywhere. Nobody's gonna die. You know what I mean? Like the ego death, the way that I see the ego death that we are heading towards is actually the disappearance of the distortions and beliefs in our vision and our perception about ourselves. And that at that point, we will see that we have always been one with our body and our ego. There was never a separation. You know what I mean, guys? Like all of that are illusions. You know, it's like a virus implanted, you know, on a computer, right? It's a distortion that messed up with our perception. And because, guys, remember, we are manifestors. We literally create our world and our life, right? And the way that we perceive it, the way we see us, the way we see ourselves within internally, the way we see and what we believe about the world, this is what we express in our physical reality. This is why our life it is the way it is. You know what I mean? We are manifesting inside out. You know, whatever we are, whatever we believe about who we are, that's what gets expressed, and we see confirmations and we see manifestations of this, right, in our life, right? For example, if you had, for example, some beliefs, right, about, you know, money is evil, or like whatever, for example, something that restricts, right, money, right, something that creates the illusion of lack, then, you know, you would have, let's say, financial issues, right, or like you were lost in losing a job, you know, like you were not manifesting, right, the money the way that you want, you know what I mean, because of that belief. Like once you release that belief, once you feel and know that, hey, I am the abundance walking, like I am love, and love is abundance, and I am abundant, I am enough, and I have everything that I need within myself. I am whole and complete as a human being, as a soul, as a multidimensional creature, you know, the divine flame, a child of God, mother, father, universe, source, whatever you want to call it. Like we were never separate from the divine, guys, you know. This is the biggest illusion, that we as humans and our human ego self is separate from God. You know, the divine is divine, but ego is something else. No, that's bullshit, guys. And the only way that I see for us to come back to truly being whole and complete and sovereign over our bodies, over our lives and our reality, if we want to start manifesting a new life, a new reality in sovereignty, in our self-love and self-worth, is to accept that ego is part of us and love it, guys. We need give unconditional love to your ego. Every time you feel something coming up, you feel some kind of pain, you feel some kind of weird energy, your inner child, whatever is coming up, everything transmutes through unconditional love, guys. Acceptance and love. The more you try to push your ego away, the more you try to let go of it and have it, make it die and tell yourself, oh, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my ego, I'm not this body. The more you fight with it, the more you're gonna get stuck in that toxic separation belief. You know what I mean? So once and for all, drop it. I'm telling you now, it doesn't work. I believe that this is the biggest illusion that was planted in our subconscious, and collective consciousness of the humankind. Well, because people, when we don't fully accept our ego, we don't accept our humanity, right? We don't accept ourselves as physical, human beings. So then we have a lot of suffering, like our human self, our body is suffering. So then our self-worth as human beings, right? Our self-worth, guys, is, in my opinion and my experience, directly connected to the ego. If you keep squashing your ego, you're smashing your self-worth. Telling you, you don't have to believe me, just try it. But this has been my experience and other people's experiences. So And this is why, you know what I mean, like a lot of religions and, you know, other people, you know, they were spreading out, you know, instilling this belief like, oh, that, you know, you're human, you're dirty, you're sinful, you're guilty, you know, repent, and, you know, you're not worthy. Like that whole slavery victim mentality, right? That your ego, you gotta drop down your ego and forget about material and physical, you know, sex is sinful and money and wealth and all of that bullshit. Yes, guys, I'm calling on the religions. I'm calling on the Catholic Church and other churches, and I'm calling up their bullshit right now because I know how it has affected my life. I've been in a Russian Orthodox Church for 15 years before in my life, and believe me, I know what I'm talking about. And I saw through that bullshit quick enough. Only 15 years it took me to realize, actually like 12. But you know, but some people get stuck in that dynamic for centuries, you know, for generations. So, and this is affecting not only people who are religious, guys. This is our subconscious collective, you know, it's our collective field. So the more we each individually like start loving our ego, fill your vessel with love, guys. Your body is your ego. Your inner child is also connected to your ego. Your inner masculine is ego. Your sexuality is also coming from the ego. You know, your ego is just you, the human you. Love yourself as a human being. When you love your ego, you just fill it up with unconditional love, and whatever pain and toxicity was there, it starts melting down, it starts transmuting. You need to accept it and stop seeing your ego as your enemy. This is the way, this is the path to embodying our true power, self-worth, and self-love, guys. And this is the way for us all individually and collectively to overcome the dictatorship. You know what I mean? Because the dictator can only dictate you what to do as long as you don't feel worthy and good enough to stand up for yourself. As a human being, you know, like what do they tell you guys? Like they say our human rights are being violated. We have the key word is human. And our humanity is directly connected and derived from the ego concept. Just accept it as a concept. It is part of you. That's it. Because I'm telling you, our ego has been suffering in silence and in pain for centuries. And it's in our body. And as I speak, I can feel it in my heart and our solar plexus. Guys, our ego connects us to our humanity. And our human self has something very powerful that we were told to forget about, which is called the power of will. We have the free will, guys, and this free will, the power of will, a personal power, sits in our solar plexus area, right? And it comes up through our throat. We express our will as human beings, our worth, our value, our boundaries, right? Is directly connected to the throat chakra. And if you don't accept all parts of you, including the human self, including the ego, including your emotions, including your anger and whatever you feel, all of that sits in the lower chakras and specifically solar plexus. You won't be able to express your free will, guys. We cannot defend ourselves. We cannot ground our spiritual power here without the ego. Because then what happens is like we ground our divine power through our physical body. And this is what we call the personal power, right? This doesn't, guys, just to clarify, when I say love your ego, right, that doesn't mean that you're going to become arrogant, you know? I'm telling you, this is the distortion too. People think that, you know, those people who are very arrogant, right, and like very much in their toxic ego, that their ego is big. No. Usually, all of the times that when I did this, you know, energy work with myself, people who have this very big, like toxic ego, like me, and being arrogant, this means that their ego is so suppressed, right? It's so far down, it's so suppressed, and it's so, you know, hurting and suffering, that, you know, it tries to fight back, right? Their ego tries to express, tries to fight back and show itself, say, hey, I am here, look at me, right? Their ego is so wounded and traumatized, right? Their human self is so wounded that they don't have any other options, you know, to be heard by other people and by themselves, except for being this, you know, toxic, arrogant self, you know, like, oh, I'm this, you know what I mean? It's a big distortion. I'm telling you, this is not true. So when you see those people, right, how you can heal that arrogant, toxic ego, remember, again, any trauma, pain, wound, toxicity gets transmuted and healed through love. Unconditional love, guys. And I'm tired of seeing, I'm doing this video because I'm tired of seeing people, millions and millions of people, believe in the bullshit that they're told by their priests, churches, leaders, parents, you know, and just generally, just you know, guys, this is it's in our collective consciousness, you know. I'm tired of people, seeing people believe that about themselves, right? And suppressing and tramping down their own humanity through their ego. And I'm telling you guys, once you start healing that through love and acceptance of your ego, just accept it, just fill it up with love, right? Every time it comes up, fill it up with love. When you think about the ego, right, what do you feel, right? Do this little exercise, right? Just say it out loud. I am ego. I love my ego. I just fucking love it. I accept it, and this is me. Just say it with me and see how you feel. Observe your emotions. Observe your thoughts. What's going on in your... Like, can you actually say it out loud? Can you say it? I love my ego. Because I'm telling you, this is the key. And I believe that this is one of the biggest keys that we as humankind needed all this time, to say fuck off to the oppressors and to the dictators. Because we can, guys, a person who has fully accepted all parts of themselves, a person, a human being who is fully authentic at all the times, who is fully embodying their soul, their divine nature, their light, their love, their creativity through their body, through their physical vessel, aka ego, right? That person does not tolerate any bullshit. That person cannot be manipulated, right? Or tricked or dictated to. That person will fight back in very different ways. Right? Like, it can be, you know, doesn't need to be violent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking, guys, I'm not talking about violence. You know, I'm talking about embodying our divine power, which comes from the spirit. And our self-worth will come back when we embody our full authentic self through our ego, through our body. Ego is just our physical self, guys, that's all. There's nothing wrong or bad or sinful about it. Ego is not the bad guy, guys. Wake up. I am telling you, you don't have to believe me, but I am telling you, and I know that this is going to happen individually, you know, for each person. I cannot tell you what to do. This is just my experience and what I feel and see happening collectively. But I really believe that this is what the year of the horse, 2026 fire horse, is going to be about. And these energies have already started, you know, it's already started happening on a more collective level, right? And what I believe, see, like with all these events, I live in the United States of America, right? So all these things are happening with Trump, Putin, right? And other countries, right? With ICE or whatever craziness that we have going on, like this is abuse, like guys, we have been abused by our governments and leaders by centuries in many countries of the world, guys. This is not just America, believe me. A lot of countries and a lot of people in different countries are going through this process on a human level, and I believe that the fact that we are human, our humanity will help us unite. There will be no more different countries and separation into races, you know, countries, borders in the future. The humanity is headed to a point where when we all are going to believe in unity and peace with ourselves and others, without separation, without discrimination, we will be equally loving and respecting each other in all different countries. And we will get to a point, we are moving towards a point when we are going to be just calling ourselves the human civilization. We are going to be calling ourselves, the earthlings, the humans, the same way we call like the Arcturian civilization, like the Arcturians, right? Or the Pleiadians, like other cosmic civilizations. Like, for example, in the Pleiades, right? The Pleiadian civilization, right? They have thousands and thousands of like different stars and constellations, and even though they have common, right, characteristics energetically, right, but they're all kind of, they have their differences, but they don't come to us, right, in our channelings, hey, I'm Pleiadian that or this. They don't separate, right? They're just all the Pleiadians, right? The Arcturians, right? The whatever, Andromedians, right? The Venusian civilization, right? Whatever you want to call, right? So this is what we're headed to. We are headed to a complete, embodied, grounded reality of unconditional love, unity consciousness, world peace, and understanding that we are all literally one and we are all just humans. There will be no separation into races, into different countries. There will be no wars with each other, no enemies, no other, right, destructive events. We still have a long way to go, guys. But what my point is, and I want to finish with this, is we don't have to worry about the global peace. What we need to do, this is what I'm being told by the divine. Focus on you. Literally, every human being needs to focus on themselves. When I focus on me, right, coming back to my wholeness, to my authenticity, embodying my power in a humble and loving way, when I focus on manifesting my personal reality, right, I can create my own life. Like, I cannot control you guys' life. Like, I cannot control Mr. Trump's thoughts, I cannot help him heal, right? Because this is a definitely traumatized inner child over there. That's a traumatized person, right? With a very wounded ego, right? Who's trying to prove himself. He is, in my opinion, this is why it's happening, guys. All the narcissistic abusers have a very, 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 very traumatized, distorted, wounded ego. Because this is exactly why they're doing all this crap. They're trying to prove themselves. They're trying to earn the love that they never had. This is their pain talking. This is not an excuse to any dictator, guys. I'm not saying, but you know what I mean? Like, we cannot heal someone, right? Somebody's ego. We cannot, arrest all the narcissistic abusers in the world. Believe me, there are a lot, right? But how we individually, every person, how we individually can actually impact on a deeper level the collective reality in our country, in our world, in our towns, right, is by focusing on ourselves, by focusing on us, by focusing on our own healing transformation, by focusing on manifesting and creating our own personal life, right? Our own reality where we feel healthy, where we feel happy, where we enjoy our life, where we treat ourselves and our partners and our children with respect and love, right? We can only create, right? We can control our own reality. Like, I know what I can do, right, in my little individual, right, personal life, right? I can change that, right? I can do that. I personally don't have access yet, right, to any influential, amounts of money, right, or people, right, who can actually maybe, right, go physically talk to a president and say, hey, dude, you know what, like, you're acting like crazy, I can't right now, right, to do that physically. If you are, a senator or a governor who's watching this, right, and if you can actually have the political power to change things, then, you will feel that you can do something different. Maybe you your way of approaching your reality, right? And this situation is going to be different than mine, right? But I cannot tell anyone what to do, right? We are all sovereign beings, right? Like, guys, you have your free will. So I believe that this message is an invitation from the divine for all of us, right? To focus on our individual life path. You do the best that you can do, right, for yourself. Focus on creating the abundance that you always want, right? Focus on manifesting your dreams, right? Focus on your family, right? If you're a mother or a father, and the best thing that you can do, that you feel in your heart, right? If in your heart, when you ask yourself, how can I impact the world situation? What can I do for the collective? And the answer is be the best, most nurturing, loving mother or father for your child. And if you feel that that's what you want to focus on right now, focus on that, guys. Don't worry about the eyes, whatever. If you don't feel that you can actually directly somehow impact the situation, do other things that your soul, your heart is telling you, guys. This is an invitation to focus on what our heart tells us to do. Because I'm telling you, right, like, when the more each individual person, right, like, creates their own life, right, their own reality of peace, unity, oneness, friendship, harmonious connections, right, unconditional love, abundance, right? When you are happy and healthy and peaceful with yourself and with your loved ones, right? Your individual consciousness, your individual reality, right? It becomes it vibrates oneness and peace, right? And then another person does that, right? Like, and then I do that, like, when each of us keeps manifesting the most peaceful, aligned, beautiful, happy, joyful, loving, abundant, powerful reality, life for ourselves, right? When I do this and you do this and this and this, when millions of people focus on creating that for themselves and for their loved ones, right? For their families, for their, in their work, in their projects, right? In their jobs, in their, whatever they want to do, right? When each of us creates a peaceful, harmonious, loving reality, personal life, little world, right? When the more of us individually do this, or like all these individual realities, right? They're always connected, and energetically we manifest one big collective reality of world peace, right? World unity, understanding, aligned relationship between countries, nations, races, etc. You know what I mean, guys? The collective situations in the world and in our countries, right, is a direct manifestation of the total sum of the total amount of our individual realities. So this is how we can actually much faster and deeper and stronger change our reality in the world, right? By focusing on our own individual life. Focus on becoming the most peaceful and wholesome and complete and happy, powerful and joyful and abundant and wealthy version of yourself. Do whatever you can do on your personal level. If that's what you can do, right, guys? Look, if the biggest thing that you can do is just give yourself a hug right now and feel yourself in love and say, hey, you know what? Your name, like whatever, like give love to your ego. If that's what you can do, if this is the best thing that you can do, to just give yourself a hug, or give your child a hug, or your mother, or your loved one. And if you can just focus on your heart and feel the presence of love in all your body, and say, you know what, like whatever your name is, like, I love you. I love you, my body. I love you, my soul. I love you, my inner child. I love you, my heart. I am one with everything, and everything is one with me. I love myself unconditionally. If this is the biggest thing that you can do right now, if this is what your heart is telling you, do that. Every little thing that we do for ourselves in our lives, coming from the heart, genuinely, authentically, from love, this energy is another drop, right, into the collective energetic field, into the collective consciousness on earth. The more love, joy, wealth, and abundance you experience, and other people individually experience in their own realities, the faster and the more peace, love, and abundance we will see manifested as a collective in our country and in the world globally. This is how reality works, guys. We are not going to change the world if we start another war or if we start fighting or being violent against our leaders. I don't believe that. If you believe that, I respect your belief, but this is not my reality. What I have come to see from the divine is the key to everything is unconditional love, and starting with myself. So from now on, I know what I'm going to be focusing on, feeling my life and manifesting my reality out of authenticity, love, dignity, self-worth, creativity, and joy and abundance. And I know the more I focus on that, I can exude this vibration outwards. I will create a ripple effect for all the people around me. I know that I will activate them, I can inspire them so that they can become the highest, most beautiful, happy, abundant, and wealthy version of themselves. So I'm gonna do what I can do, and you please focus on what your heart is telling you to do. Focus on love, and you will see shifts in a much bigger way and a more unexpected way than you can ever imagine. Guys, they're telling me that we have no idea how still, as human beings, how powerful love can be. And all that we need to embody and start living that and seeing that is just to start believing and feeling. Feel the love in your heart, guys. Remember, it is time to remember that we are love. This is who we are and have always been. That's it. Fear, wound, trauma, all of that, all the distortion and illusions. It was all a distortion of the truth about ourselves. And we have always had the power to manifest and to change reality around us by changing our inner world. By shifting the focus within, making peace with ourselves, making peace with all parts of ourselves, including ego, making love and harmony and peace and oneness present within ourselves every day and in our day-to-day life, guys, in our relationships with our parents, with our pets, in our local communities. This is more than enough, guys. Focusing on ourselves and doing what our heart is calling us to do at any given point in time, this is enough. We need to remember. It is time for us all to remember who we are and what our power truly is. And this is love. I salute you, my friends. I love you. I invite you to be love. It's not easy sometimes, and you will see the more you focus on love and peace within yourself, on your own, focus on creating and manifesting the reality of love and peace for yourself and for your immediate, like your loved ones. If you just do that, you directly impact the collective reality in the world. Follow your heart. If your heart is telling you to sign a petition, go out to protest, do that. If your heart is telling you to focus on your creativity and write music or paint some art or go out for a walk, do that. If your heart is telling you to go out in nature, connect to the trees and cry out your wounds or childhood trauma or pain, do that. If your heart is telling you that you want to be a mother and or a father, and you want to raise your child in love and peace and instill new healthy values in your children, so that they, when they will grow up, they don't become manipulated and traumatized and, you know, dictated how to live their life, do that. Everyone, every human being has their own unique and individual beautiful role on this planet, guys, and this is going to be different, right, from, you know, my reality, my role, you know, of creating my life for myself and manifesting love into this world is going to look very different maybe from yours, right? But that's the beauty. We are all connected, we are all human beings, and at the same time we are all uniquely authentic, we are all uniquely, you know, gifted. So I think that this is the time for us, guys, to express our unique gifts and talents authentically, you know, by just being who we are and manifesting out of heart, out of that place of uniqueness, out of our power and love. And please, guys, remember, don't compare your journey to the other people's paths. If you don't feel called to go out and protest, don't feel guilty, because I'm telling you again, every human being has their own individual role to play in the collective process of, you know, coming back to peace and oneness in the world and in the collective ascension process. So it's going to be looking very different, especially if you're like a creative person like me, right? I'm a musician, a singer, and an artist, right? If you're a dancer and you want to do like a dance video, you know, to inspire people, to help them awaken their own creativity, then do that. Then maybe that's your way of creating peace in the world. You know, guys, it can look very, very different ways, unimaginable ways, right? So just allow yourself to come from the heart. Allow the love from your heart to pour out into your life, and do act upon it the way that you feel from your heart. And don't listen to anyone else but your own self in this process, because I'm telling you, this is the time when we are going to embrace and embody our own uniqueness and authenticity. There is no point of trying to be like someone else or follow into somebody else's paths. It's time for you guys and for all of us to create our own unique pathways to what we want to do, to who we want to become, who we want to create ourselves into in this lifetime. We have never lived this kind of time, guys, before on earth, so there is no manual, there is no universal recipe for anyone. It's not like what I do, you have to do the same. No. I know that my power, I can express it better and more authentically in my love through my singing, through my voice, through my presence, right? Through my energetic, you know, through my creativity, through my music, right? Through my art, maybe, through my public speaking, through my jokes. You know, sometimes, you know, I make somebody laugh and people like, wow, you just inspire, you just made my day, you know? Guys, we are here to inspire each other to, you know, accept our humanity, that our human self is as divine and pure and full of light and power as our spiritual self. The matter is an expression of the spirituality of the spirit. There has never been a separation. There is nothing wrong in being a material being and desiring material goods and wealth for yourself and for your family. That, guys, being happy, abundant, and wealthy as fuck, you know, imagine when you have so much money that you don't know what to do, that it's more than enough for you and for your children, you leave a legacy, and then you have so much money that you can go and create, maybe open charity foundations, right? Invest that money, right? And making waters clear, you know, clean waters, you know, helping orphan children around the world. Guys, we need to be wealthy and happy physically, materially, financially, in order to make an impact. You know, if you're poor and suffering, you cannot change the world, guys. So focus on helping yourself now, and then you can give to others. out of your most magnificent, wealthy, abundant, peaceful, powerful, creative, divine, fucking embodied self. You know what I mean? Focus on that, guys. Trailblaze your own pathway, because you are a unique, divine child. There is no one else like you or me, you know? There is no other Litara in the world. There is no other Dawn. There is no other, Will. There is no other John. There is no other Olga. You are you. And by accepting your uniqueness, your humanity, your ego, your soul, your power, your gifts, your ancestral power in your DNA, guys, accept your visions, accept your psychic gifts, accept your creative gifts, accept your business mind. Maybe you were told, by your family that, you got to go to a 9-to-5 job and that's it. And if you have an idea, if you want to become an entrepreneur, right? And like maybe grow a business that will be, helping the planet Earth, right? Maybe you have an idea about sustainability. If you want to become a businessman and help the world and other people in this way, then do that. We don't know, nobody knows what you personally have come here to create. So focus on self-realization, guys. Focus on knowing yourself. What do you really want to do? Why did your soul, incarnate here? What is that divine spark? What is that creative fire in your heart that makes you feel alive and happy? This is your highest expression. That is your highest gift, guys. Focus on expressing that in whatever shape or form. Like take a step, another step, and then the rest will follow. You will see it. The path will unfold as you go, but start walking your own truly unique, authentic path. And you will see it. You are, guys, we are all guided by our heart and the love in our hearts. We are guided and loved by Mother Earth, by the Spirit, by nature around us, by the divine. We are guided by love. So allow yourself to be guided by the unconditional love, that flickering life, that flame, the golden flame of life and love and abundance of your divine essence that burns in your heart, in your solar plexus, in your body. That flame is alive. So make it feel alive. Make it your own journey, guys. You are the leader and the emperor or the empress of your reality. You are the ruler. You are the sovereign. You have the power and you have always had it. Do whatever the fuck you want to do with your life. This is how you help the rest of the humanity. I love you. Embody your power. And if somebody tells you that you can't do something, tell them to fuck off. I give you permission. I'm sending you my blessings, guys. Receive this message with love and open mind and open heart. And I trust the divine that for those who are ready to hear will hear this message. Thank you for your patience. It's been a very fucking long video, but this is who I am, guys. I'm not going to apologize for who I am, and I invite you to do the same. This video, the length of this video is an expression in the physical world of my authentic self. And I am done. I don't know about you guys, but I am done suppressing myself and my authenticity and my power and my creativity. Be how much you want to be. Those who don't have the patience to listen, they're not your people, period. If there are going to be one person who watches this video until the end and it helps them, then be it. I am done chasing likes or followers. I never chase them, guys, to be honest. But do you know what I mean, guys? Like, be you. If you need to talk for 2 hours and that's your authentic expression, then fucking do it. It doesn't matter that some people have a short attention span. That doesn't mean that you have to cut yourself short. Okay? Don't settle for anything less that you deserve. Then you deserve. Don't settle for anything less than who you are. Okay? Bye. I love you. Oh my god, this energy is so powerful, guys. I'm on fire! I hope you feel it. So I even put on my favorite red leather gloves. We're gonna rock the world, guys. This year is going to be the shit, I'm telling you. Wow. I love you guys so much. You have no idea how much I love you. But anyway, bye.